San Antonio Spurs, man, despite the bad record that they have this year, I mean, you got Wemby. And we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show or earlier in the show with NBA Love is Blind. I think every NBA team will be okay with building around Victor Wembanyama so long as he stays healthy. I mean, he's been healthy for most of this year. And he's played, he almost had a quadruple-double. He had a 5x5. He's blocking shots. I think he might be leading the league in block shots, or top 3 at least for sure. Scoring, shooting, rebounding. He's doing everything that we thought that he would do. And he's just, 19, 20 years old. So he's only going to get better so long as he can stay healthy. My question to you, gentlemen, is what do you think the Spurs need to do this offseason in order to build around Wemby for the future? Like, what's one type of player that you think they need to help build around Victor Wembanyama?
No, a veteran guard. So he doesn't feel the need to. I feel like at times Wemby feels like he needs to carry the team. I know when this first started happening, right, we saw possibility for Chris Paul going there. DeMar DeRozan talking about maybe he suits back up for Greg Popovich. But I really would love to see a guard that's willing to give up the scoring load in order to help him build. The other Jones brothers just ain't it. And they just
Trey.
Trey ain't it. And then they have those weird lineups, but I won't get into all that. But to me, I would love to see a guard come. But I also think, Wemby needs a backup center that can really get into his butt a little bit more as well. I mean, he's doing everything right, producing, everything like that. But is there more still untapped from him? Of course, that you can get out of him from a big that can, do his footwork right. You know what I mean? But for right now, and for him to show how healthy he's been this entire season, that's a true unicorn. For sure. So I would say a point guard, not gonna say of Chris Paul's mentality, but I guess yes, of Chris Paul's mentality, that's willing to get you your 20 to 25 points per game instead of his own 20 to 25 points a game.
That's interesting, Sheedy, because I think the complete opposite. I think the player that they should go after, top player, top choice, should be a player like Trae Young. Because if you think about how Tim Duncan was built, David Robinson was built, they need that special guard to be able to go get a bucket when, everybody's crashing in on Wemby. And then you talk about that untapped potential that somebody like a Trae Young got. Yeah, he may be a pass or he's ball hog, but imagine if somebody like Pop get his hands on him and turn him up, just like he turned Tony Parker up. That kind of needs to be the Spurs' first option. Whatever pick you get, which is probably going to be a top 5, maybe a top 3 pick, ship that out to Atlanta, get your point guard for the future. They put it now and for the future. And we could be talking about the Spurs 2 years from now in the playoffs, like what's up. But you get Pop and Trae Young together, or a player like Trae All
we got a comment. Eric, I don't think Tuka's saying that Trae is Tony Parker. I think it's just like a all-star caliber point guard to play alongside Wemby. Like, we all know Trae Young. That's two different games, man. Like, come on now. We know Tony Parker, he's not a shooter. He lived in the paint with floaters. Like, we know that. But, like, we're saying, like, pair an all-star caliber guard beside Wemby. And for me, I was either one of the Atlanta guards. It can be DeJounte. It can be Trae Young. I mean, Murray has experience with Pop. He played in San Antonio. So he already knows it. I think he might have discussed it before. Like, he would be interested in going back. And if you San Antonio, you're going to have a decent top pick. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't nothing to swap picks. And then you get DeJounte Murray. If you trade Keldon Johnson, trade Devin Vassell, or whoever it is in order to get DeJounte or Trae Young, I think that would be amazing for Wemby. I mean, imagine the pick and rolls, pick and pops with Trae Young. Like, that's.
My thing is, what's wrong with that comparison, to be honest with you? I mean, if we're going to keep it up. What's wrong with that comparison? I mean, of course, Trae Young can shoot better, but Tony Parker do his thing inside, so can Trae Young. Yeah. Trae Young averaged 30 points a game. Like, what's wrong with that comparison? He averaged 11 assists. What's wrong with that comparison?
Yeah, that's that. Oh my God, that would feed families. Because I mean, you got to make a decision.
Come on, Eric.
Are you going to guard Trae Young on the pick and roll because he's going to drive to the basket, or you got to get a deal with a popping Wemby to the perimeter, or a cutting Wemby for the lob, and we know that he can catch lobs because he don't even got to jump. He can just put his hands up and it's a dunk. You know what I'm saying?
Disgusting.
So if you're San Antonio, I agree too. That's your priority. Give me any competent all-star-ish caliber guard. If not this upcoming free agency, at some point you're gonna have to pair Wemby with an all-star guard. Take the load off of him because he's also, at least in recent games, he's very ball dominant, and that's cool. But we see what happens with ball dominant big man, a la Joel Embiid, getting hurt a lot. And I don't want Wemby to get hurt a lot. I want to preserve Wemby's career because I know that Pop wants to win another ring. He wants that bad, and he has a legitimate chance if Wemby continues to grow how we know he's going to grow. So I'm in on Trae Young. I mean, I get on Trae Young, but Trae Young with Wemby, oh yeah, I'll buy that. I definitely buy that, or even DeJounte Murray. I will buy that as well too.
Yeah,
so
I want the DeJounte Murray, and then, again, and Pablo's got another 4 years underneath his contract too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking at the big man to see who will be a possible like backup big man, and
they might be done because they sound like Zach Collins. Yeah, they gave Zach Collins about.
I mean, like for next year, it's like here's the top 10. It's like Valanciunas, Claxton, Hartenstein, Daniel Tice, Mason Plumlee, Andre Drummond, DeAndre Jordan, Alex Lynn, Cody Zeller, Tristan Thompson. He gonna be done with the league. JaVale McGee. A lot of. I think Tillman could be all right. Besides Wemby, I think Tillman could be okay.
I think you need to add some more height, believe it or not, just coming off that bench. So if you can get somebody like a Drummond or even a Tice,
Drummond will be amazing. Drummond will be amazing.
Just get rebounds. Help the young fella.
Right. Let him space out.
Yeah. So yeah, Spurs they in good hands, man. I mean, they have never given me a reason to not trust them to develop their players. I mean, we saw it several times. We saw it with Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Kawhi, and now we had Wemby. So they just blessed every generation with a generational type player.
and this team, they were like towards. I mean, of course, they were losing games right in the beginning as well.
Competitive, man.
Yeah, I was about to say like they were like a 3/4 of a team, right? Like they're gonna give you a tough 3 quarters. No telling where those 3 quarters are gonna come from. But that other quarter, you're gonna blow them out. And so I agree. Their competitiveness, I think, kind of died down as the season died down as well. But I'll take him for the next 4 years. You got Pop at the helm. There's no telling what can happen.